All right, Choka, we'll leave it at that. Thanks very much for joining in. Appreciate you taking out the time. Let's get in another management and one important piece of news. A positive piece of news for print media companies. They are on a roll today, and the stock we are focusing on is DB Corp. The counter has gained the most in over 3 months intraday. This comes after the Information and Broadcast Ministry has hiked advertisement rates for print media by 25% for a period of 3 years. Let's talk a little bit more about how this will impact business dynamics in broader detail with the non-executive director, Mr. Girish Agarwaal, who is now on the phone line with us. Mr. Agarwaal, thanks very much for taking out the time. Your initial reaction to this particular news, and how positive is it for you?
This is a very welcome move, and on behalf of the industry, we thank government for taking this initiative, which was pretty well awaited. As you know, last 3, 4, 5 quarters have been really bad because of newsprint prices going up as high as 40%. So this hike of 25% on the advertising on the government business is certainly going to give some relief to all of us. Generally speaking, the government advertising is around 15% for most of the newspaper organizations. So on this 15%, this 25% growth will look like around 4% growth in the top line. And that top line will add on to the bottom line because there is no cost attached to it.
Right. Mr. Agarwaal, if I can get you in on, the fact that this is going to be an election year. Historically, what sort of trends have you seen? Does that mean a meaningful increase in revenues for print media companies? Perhaps if you could talk specifically about DB Corp as well.
So there are two kinds of advertising growth which comes around election time. One is the direct spend by the government. And the second one is when the government does increase their spending, the market grows and the sale of other consumer item goes up, and those companies are advertising. So we are looking forward for those two kinds of benefit coming to the organization and to the larger industry.
Mr. Agarwaal, just to clarify, the increase of 25% in terms of ad rates is on the existing rate structure?
Yes, very much.
All right. Now, just clarifying, because the last time the increase happened in 2013, it happened on the structure of 2010. How does this work out in terms of, the overall growth in advertisements coming your way? Do you see a hindrance because of this, because of the increment in the expenses?
No, I think this is positive. Government advertising rate going up is benefit for us. And the newsprint prices also are softening down. So there's another benefit going to come in the year 1920, the full aspect, because it has just started. So most of us already have the stock bought in for a quarter. So the real benefit of the newsprint prices going down will happen next year. And we are hopeful now that private companies, those who advertise with all of us, they may also consider looking some kind of rate growth. So that will give us some relief furthermore.
So you're not expecting any advertising spending cuts from corporates?
No, actually, we are now thinking they are already at the bottom, so they need to go up now.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Agarwaal, if you could also give us a little bit of an idea on how you're seeing trends with respect to subscription revenues. What are you picking up right now? How can we expect the next couple of quarters perhaps to pan out?
So in circulation revenue, we are not taking any price increase over there. So whatever growth will happen is based on our copies growth. So in last 1 year, whatever copies we have grown by around 10-12%. So that impact will come in the subscription revenue.
Just one last question, sir, before we let you go. By the end of the year, could you give us an overall, a sort of a guidance or a ballpark figure as to what you intend to do on the top line and bottom line, your growth numbers?
So as a company, we don't give a forward-looking statements, but looking at the scenario around, we are very positive and hopeful for the future.
Okay. We'll leave it at that, Mr. Agarwaal. Thanks very much for joining in. Appreciate you taking out the time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So a definite positive coming in for the industry, something which the sector had long been asking for. A 25% hike in ad rates, print ad rates over the current structure. All the stocks up 8 in the green. So 8% for DB Corp. Jagran Prakashan was higher in the morning session, but now has petered off a bit, but still 2.5% higher, and 20% for an HT Media. That's what the space is looking like. We are going to take a